email his math teacher and ask, and if you don't mind, I'll give them your email address so that you know, they could get in touch with you if he's struggling in a certain thing. I do know that they work with kids on when they're doing word problems on like highlighting important things, words in the word problems and such, to try to help with that. And also, I wanted to let you know that we just implemented a all-in tutoring program, and Michael is part of that. Um, so he is getting extra tutoring for reading, but it's based on like specific skills we're going through, like main idea and sequencing and that kind of stuff so far. So that just started in January.
Okay, perfect.
So
So what would be really helpful for um what would be really helpful for us, um if we know, so Michael's not going to tell me anything that I don't ask specifically pertaining to school, and even with
okay,
specifics the answers are very vague. So um for me to know what he's working on at school, um, the supplemental work that you all are doing, if we have an idea of what it is, I know he's getting like the regular classroom instruction, and then he gets the supplemental instruction through the all in tutoring. If we know what that is, then I can make sure that we reinforce those, because Michael needs to be doing it at school and at home in order for it to stick. And I
okay,
don't have a problem making time. I don't have a problem making time for that. I can do it. My wife can do it. The tutors that work for me can do it. My daughter's an honor student at the high school. And so even if we just add an additional 30 minutes a day to what he's doing, um, I can see some improvement. And he'll be motivated by the praise, because he's seen his sisters get it all the time for their, for him, it's more behavior goals that we have than academics. Um, as long as my rule has always been, as long as they try their hardest, but I do want to make sure that I can track that.
I understand, and I thank you for that because it's awesome to see parents that are involved. So I'm willing to try whatever I can to do that. And what I could do, I'll go through the tutoring book, and I can tell you like what we're going to be working on for maybe a week or two, and that way it'll give you a heads up
That would
on
be
the
awesome. I
types
appreciate
of
that.
activities. Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
and it
Okay,
doesn't even necessarily have to be every week, because what we'll be doing during the summer is we'll be reinforcing what, so he doesn't suffer the summer slide. So even if we got something every month, like I don't want to add. If Michael's not your only student, so even if it was, this month we worked on this, then I know as I build summer programs for nonprofit organizations. So it's nothing for me to do my own research. If you give me the topics, I can find the material, or if you send me a PDF that has some copies, then throughout the summer, I can make sure that the skills that he's learned throughout this school year are ready to go when he goes in September. So, like, I don't want to add a lot
okay.
to your load, just a little bit extra for direction for us, and we can run with it.
Thank you very much. Yes, sir. I will do that.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Um, wow. Thank you. Social skills. He's quiet. He does laugh with his peers sometimes. He gets along with them. Um, let's see. Once in a while, like I said, he'll bounce off to a different site, but he comes back on. And now there's a new thing called Securely that they're using. The school is using. So like if they do go on the wrong site, it'll shut them out of a lot of it. So
Okay.
I like that. The kids are they're upset, but that's okay. They can be upset. um, so functional performance. He took a career assessment, informal interview, and yes, he wants to be an NBA player. I saw last year he wanted to do the work at Denny, so that's a big difference. But it'll give me something to work with him to talk about colleges, and we can research like the entrance requirements and the GPA, and I'll talk to them about, everything you do when you step into high school, which is what I said to my kids, will affect that GPA, and so, yeah, we will go into that. I put on here that he's getting I thought I did, a standard diploma. Let me edit this. But when he goes to high school, that this can change. So if he can, well, there's not an if. He could get not a modified, the advanced diploma. He would have to take language, a couple extra classes of that, and I don't know all the other stuff. But and I even heard, I don't know if it's still true, but I heard that a few years back, sign language actually was considered a language. So even that would be something to help him get the advanced diploma.
Okay.
Okay. So for the middle school transition, he would like to be an NBA player, and I put some things on here. We're going to look at colleges.
On the employment, it says NFL player, but it's supposed to say NBA.
Oh, can you see my screen? Did I?
No, not there. Down in the transition activity services. I saw it on the draft. It's on there.
Oh.
Yeah, right in the middle next to for employment activity.
Oh, it does say it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate you. See, that's what happens when you have kids want to do it all, right? Okay. Okay. And let's see. So we're going to go through all this stuff, and I had to look this up. The NBA G League, which is a stepping stone, I'm assuming, to
Yes.
get to the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
And and anytime he can talk to coaches in the area who are involved in that kind of stuff, that would help. So his goals for reading by January 2025 with specially designed instruction, which is what SDI stands for, to include modeling. Michael will apply meaning clues and phonetic strategies when reading a story passage at his instructional level with 85% accuracy on 4 out of 5 trials. And we're going to check that with classwork and class participation. And social functioning. By January 2025, he'll utilize 1 to 2 replacement behaviors or strategies to increase self-regulation skills abilities with less than 3 to 5 verbal visual prompts weekly over a 9-week grading period. That's going to be checked through observation.
So I saw in reading the draft that with his redirection, he's not giving the teachers any back talk, and that sometimes he'll take a break, 1 to 2 minute break as needed. Are these breaks initiated by him or by the instructor?
He can initiate them
Okay.
as long as he's not abusing anything. But really, truly, I don't see behavior issues. And Miss Poyer's shaking her head no. He really is an awesome young man.
Okay.
So, yeah, he does. He comes in chipper. He says good morning. It's nice. It's nice. Miss Coyer said it's refreshing.
Oh, thank you.
It really is. Because there have been times when I'll say good morning to like 10 kids coming in the room and no one says anything. It's like, okay. So his accommodations are audio for all graded assignments in tests in math, science, history, and civics, clarifying and simplifying directions, visual supports, and small group testing. And that carries over to the SOLs for reading and math and his benchmarks, which are on here. And here are the accommodations for that. Reading, he'll have a small group, and math will have small group and an audio. And then the same thing for the benchmarks, or well, they're calling them CFAs now. Small group and audio for everything, but not audio for reading. Okay. So his services, he gets 150 minutes a week for reading and 60 minutes for self-regulation. And if we all agree that he is placed in a public day school based on his present level of performance, I'm down here. The team determined Michael could continue or will continue special education services in the general education classroom where he can receive accommodations from the general and or special educator. And okay, we propose to implement this IEP. We want to provide special ed services for this student. I used information from his record and teacher and parent input, and I also got some info from him too. Now, are there any other choices that we want to consider or reject?
I just want the request for the occupational therapy, that it's written that we made the request
Okay.
for at least for the assessment. The excuse that they gave at the elementary school was they do a lot of typing in middle school and high school, and the documentation that they showed documentation for September where it was reasonable, and they showed documentation for October where it was actually worse. And of course, the meeting was in March, and there was no documentation from December until March. And so we had to have a second meeting that I ended early because I don't like to be disrespectful to educators, but I was not pleased at all.
And I understand that, sir. And you have every right to speak up for your child. I'm not offended at all. Let's see. Okay, so I put on here that you do request for an assessment to be done in order for the student to possibly, I better put that. Since services were occupational therapy services, since they were discontinued last year. And I will get with my supervisor and see if we can make that happen. I don't know if, do you remember who the person was at the end of last year?
No.
Who, like the OT?
It was, she was new. I don't remember her name.
It wasn't Haley Brevard. Miss Brevard was the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
Or she was on the IEP for the year before when they continued services.
Yeah, I don't.
But whoever.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I can I'll go back and look, because I don't know, like, if that person would be responsible for doing the testing. So, but
If I may,
yes, ma'am.
since he's made the request, I will schedule a reevaluation, and then we will have a reevaluation meeting. And the
Okay,
team
good.
meeting would decide whether or not the evidence lends to Michael being tested again for OT. So it will be like a regular reevaluation meeting, but it just has to be set.
Thank you.
Okay. And I did bring his, a sample of his writing, which I know y'all can't see very well. But I understand. We have a book here of some of his handwriting that he's done. So, yeah, we'll do the reeval, okay, and move on from there. So I don't know if you want to sign this, Mr. Jones, the way it is, and it says in there that we will. Let me go to the. I'll add that. My V doesn't work. To discuss the V on my keypad to discuss possibly okay. All righty. So is that okay, Mr. Jones?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do I have your permission to finalize this IEP?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I can get a copy of this and send it to your email through DocHub, and you can sign it and get it back to me. Everything's easy peasy.
Okay.
All right, and I'll also send you the 5-step reading strategy and anything we're working on the next few weeks for the all-in tutoring.
I appreciate it. And then
Thank you.
for the all-in tutoring, is that just for language arts, or does that include other subjects?
It's language. It's language arts and math.
Okay, good. That's the class I was concerned about. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, because once I know what he's
Great.
struggling,
All right.
once I know what his struggle is in math, I can take care. I can take care of the math part. It's just they don't get homework, so I'm used to math work coming home, and the majority of his work is in class. That's been the problem with the ADHD and the autism, is that he's rushing through his tests. So the times that he takes his time, he'll get 70, 80, but when he's rushing, he's getting 30 or 40. And that's why I put in the concern area is what can we do to slow him down? Where if he's because he's racing,
Yeah.
like he even races to the bathroom, like everything's go 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 for him, and that so he's not always able to demonstrate what he knows. So his tests aren't always sometimes they are a reflection, but often the tests aren't reflecting what he knows because he's rushing to get it done, rushing to get to the video games, and so he suffers that way. So it's hard to gauge where he really is because the work is at school. It's not at home. At home, I can watch him do it. I can ask him questions.
Is there something that like isn't extremely expensive, like that would be a motivator that I could say to him, hey, get a really good score on this and I could do this, or grades, I don't know grades are a motivator for him. We could maybe put an extra A in the book if he does a, 70 or above, or